Hey, I'm Jake.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Today we're going to tell you about Boundless's new South America location, La Barra in Uruguay.
In South America. This is their very first South American location, and we got the privilege to be here in their very first cohort, which is very fun.
The kickoff cohort.
Yeah, so it's been fun. So just a little bit about us, if you don't know us, we have attended Boundless Life from the very beginning, so we have had a chance to go to every single Boundless Life cohort. You can see a lot of our other reviews online as well, and you can find us over on Instagram. I have a private account, but just ping me, shoot me a message, and I try to answer every single person over at Michelle Champ. I'll drop it here, as well as our referral code we have for €600 off your first Boundless Life stay.
Yeah, and we don't work for Boundless, but we do get a kickback for our next stay if you use our referral code, so appreciate you using that in advance. And so we're going to give you kind of the lowdown of what it's like to be here in Uruguay.
And we're going to try to do
I'm having a real hard time saying Uruguay.
Uruguay.
I say Uruguay because that's how you say it in Spanish, but I don't know how to say it in American.
Because his Spanish is
how do you say it in American?
So we're going to do a quick rundown just what to expect from this video, and hopefully we can get it all in before we have to go pick up the kids from school. So we will give you just a little bit about where this location is, a bit about how to get there, the airport, what to fly into, the overall vibe, a bit of the pros and cons, which we try to just be really honest about. Obviously, this is all from our perspective, right? So everybody might have a little bit different experience. This is going to be our perspective and as honest as we can be. The education center, the ECAs or the after-school activities here, the apartments, the housing, kind of where everything is located, the hub, the co-working space, family lounge, and then different activities that you can do around here, either that Boundless kind of provides or has options for, or things that we've found, as well as safety, a bit about car rentals here, food, which is always important to me, and then some weather, some side trips, some that we've taken, some that others have taken that
and
you
then
can look into.
Whether or not we think you should come here.
And we'll finish off with a little bit of comparing this to other locations. So that's what you can expect from the video, so we will just jump right in and get started.
Yeah, so let's talk about where is this location.
So this is in Uruguay, which is a little country just between Brazil and Argentina.
And it's shaped like an avocado.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, never noticed that. So we've actually been to Uruguay a couple of times, but never for this long of a stay. So we were pretty excited to get back. To be honest though, if we just pause for a minute, when Boundless first announced the location, we're like, we'll go, that sounds fun, right? But then when we started to look into it, we were like, what is this place? And then we were kind of out for a minute. We were like, I don't think we want to go there. I don't understand what the charm is.
Yeah, why did they pick this town? I didn't get it.
Yeah, and we were looking at Google Street Maps and stuff, and we just couldn't figure out the vibe of it. But I also know that Boundless has not let us down on locations. They tend to pick these unique locations that are just enough off the beaten path that not many people have heard of, and that have this like special vibe or special charm. And so I think we came into it being excited once we finally decided to go, but we're also a little bit like, is this gonna be good or bad, you know?
And the truth is, they delivered. This is a really cool location.
I love it. But we're gonna talk a little bit more about it to see if like you would love it too. But yeah, this is my vibe.
You're supposed to save that until the end.
I know, but I have some cons too. I have some like
Everyone's gonna turn off the video now. What are you doing? All right, well, if you're still here, how do you get here? You generally fly to Buenos Aires, is the major airport near here, but Uruguay also has its own major airport in Montevideo. Now there is an airport closer in Punta del Este. Punta del Este is the town right here, we can see it from right here, but their airport doesn't have very many flights. So most likely you'll fly into Montevideo is your best bet because it's less than 2 hours away by car, and they do have some international flights, a good amount of international flights. If you have to stop in Buenos Aires first and then take a 1 hour connection to get to Montevideo, that's fine too, but ideally you'd get to Montevideo direct from wherever you're coming from.
Right, and you know, we came from Boundless Life, Spain, Boundless's Spain location, and we flew direct from Madrid to Montevideo, which was amazing. It was like a 12-hour flight, it was so easy. And so there are some direct flights into Montevideo, which make it really nice. But really, it's only an hour and a half to Montevideo airport. It's really an easy drive.
Hour and 45. She's cutting it down a little bit.
But it's like, I was like, oh man, that drive is going to be hectic or something, like South American vibe. It could be a little bit crazy. It's not at all. Isn't it so easy? It's especially easy for me because I don't drive it.
No, it is an easy drive. It's a very low stress drive. They do have speed cameras here, so you generally have to drive quite slow on their highway.
It is amazingly slow.
Yeah.
And everybody drives that slow. So whatever. Yeah. It's kind of just
fun.
a chill.
It's a relaxing drive.
Yeah, it goes with the vibe. Okay, so just speaking of car rental real quick, we are going to kind of get into this, but let's just talk about it now. I mean, what we did was we rented a car at Montevideo Airport. It was just less expensive. And then we are renting it for the entire time. That's what we decided to do. And we're happy with that decision. You don't have to, but it does just make it easier to venture out. And it's just an easy place to have a car. Some of these other towns that we've been to with Boundless or other towns, it's just harder to have a car, figure out parking, all this stuff. This is just easy.
Yeah, and Boundless also did have a connection for us to get a better rate on our car rental. So definitely reach out to your rep ahead of time and see if you can get that rate through whatever car rental company they're working with.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to just like the overall vibe of this town.
Sorry, one more thing on the car rental though is just, you don't need a car here. You do not need to. Everything is walking distance. Depending on where you're staying around town, you can walk to school very easily. You can walk to this grocery store, everything. Walking is no problem here. We've just found it's fun to explore beyond this area on the weekends, and to also during the week, maybe take a run over to the next town to go to lunch. And so having a car here can be convenient and a great way to explore on the weekends.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just some towns, like, I don't know, Estepona, I wouldn't want a town to like be buzzing around everywhere. Bali, I don't want a car. Did I say that right? Estepona, I don't want a car to be buzzing around everywhere. And Bali, I don't want a car. Even Sintra, it's too hard to have a car, figure out parking. Greece, I wouldn't want a car there. So here though, it's just easy. It just feels like it's easy to have a car. You can still walk everywhere. I walk a lot all around town all the time, but it makes it nice to be able to go to my organic farm, and I could have it delivered, but it's fun to visit the farm or just to pop over to different places. It kind of gives a little bit more freedom, but you don't have to have that. Okay. Overall vibe, how would you describe?
Yeah, it's definitely this little coastal town. It's a surfer's village, and it's very...
we're just staring at the ocean, all the surfers right now, so it's hard to look away.
And the swells come in, so there are 50 surfers in the water. And so it's a nice, chill, laid-back, sandy, beachy town with little surf shops, a lot of little restaurants and cafes where you can grab a bite here and there.
Way cuter than it looks on Google Maps. Like, way cuter.
Yeah.
There's like boutique shops. You have just so many great stretches of coast, and so many just like beach walks and boardwalk kind of areas. I mean, in Punta, but also here in La Barra.
And the town has a little bit of a bohemian vibe to it. It's like kind of a upscale surfer scene.
Yeah, it is, and it has a big mate culture. You'll learn about it. You'll get into it, or maybe you already do. But if you thought Argentina was a big mate culture, Uruguay, every single person carries around their thermos and their mate at all times. I mean, crossing the street, right here, looking out at the beach, like every single person.
And if you don't know what mate is, it's sort of a tea, kind of a mix between a coffee and a tea that people walk around with.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun cultural vibe, I think. And I would say that what's really unique about this location is you have the coastline here, right? But then you have forests, and then you have countryside and farmland, and it's just within 10 minutes of each other, right? It's like coast, 2 minutes down the road, forests, and then like countryside. So I can be at an organic farm, and then a nice little drive, then I'm at the coast, and I love that. I think that's...
Yeah, it's got a good combination of different things to explore here. I will say in general, it's not urban, it's not very commercialized. There is the nearby town of Punta del Este, which is 10 minutes away. We can see it right here.
10 minutes in the off season.
10-minute drive, 10-minute drive away. And that has a lot more bigger hypermarkets and...
Yeah, but it's still a chill city. Yeah. Even Punta del Este is like a pretty chill city. But again, this is where also this area, season variability is big, right? You're gonna have a ton of people for their summer, which is that January, February months. And the vibe is going to be much different. It's its own uniqueness. It's not good or bad. It's just going to be different. It's also going to be a lot more expensive.
And if you haven't visited South America before, remember it's basically the opposite seasons as North America and the Northern Hemisphere. So they truly have the opposite seasons for spring, summer, fall, winter.
Right.
And so if you're coming down here, we happen to be here in April, May, June. So it started off warm and now it's drifting into fall.
Yeah, so we are in their fall season, the shoulder season, which has actually been a really nice season, I think. But then whatever season we land in, we're just kind of like, we find the reasons why it's so nice, I think. Well, we've had great weather so far, so it's been nice. The vibe here is definitely different than other Boundless Life locations, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally different. I think that, compared to their Europe locations, it's more beachy, it's more residential, it's less urban, it's less old.
Yeah, it's just like a little more laid back. It's a little bit more spread out even, right? But you're not gonna have like all of the extra amenities, like a ton of shops and a ton of places to go. I think that the one thing I had written down, I think more in a different section here, but is that there's not a ton of places to buy all of your like the needs. I was just reading the Lorax a lot to Jovi. But it's like you can get some stuff. It's a little bit going to be more expensive. So it's one place I would definitely recommend that people bring the stuff that they need or that they're picky about. Like for example, sunscreen, even like shampoo and conditioner, stuff like that. You can get it here. You're just not going to have as many options. And for me, that's like more picky about the organic and the chemicals and stuff. I would have preferred that I bring more stuff. I did find a really good company. I'm just going to mention it now so I don't forget. It's called I didn't find it actually. The staff found it for me. Mom's Lab. I will write it down here. That has been nice for like kids' shampoos and my shampoo and conditioner and soaps and stuff like that I get delivered. That's a local company.
And there are these kind of hypermarkets in Punta del Este where it's sort of like a Target or Walmart type place. So you can get a lot of home goods and different things you might need. But they're going to cost you way more money than they would cost you in the US or Canada.
Yeah, I mean, everything is pretty much imported. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is unlike Spain where it's like you can get everything, you can show up with nothing, you're going to be fine. Here, I would say, bring the stuff that you're really picky about, and it's just going to be harder to get or really more expensive.
Yeah, and if you have to replace kind of like a season, if you're shifting and you need a bunch of cold weather gear or even warm weather gear, it's just going to cost more than back home, most likely.
And then a couple other things that we said are that, one, there's a really nice skate park here. So if you have kids into skating or you're into skating, there's a really nice skate park. Some really amazing, but it's a little bit of a drive. 5-minute, 10-minute drive, I guess. That big, amazing playground park.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 20 playgrounds and one huge, massive park.
Beautiful, huge park.
It's like an amusement park, but it's free.
Yeah, so a beautiful community.
Well, amusement park with no roller coasters. It's a bunch of playgrounds.
Just huge slides and big playgrounds and really nice park area.
So you have some like cool things like that around here as well. Oh, safety, real quick, safety. As far as South American countries go, the reason I think Boundless chose this location is big into like safety in South America, right? I think that this place just feels safe. I'm never looking over my shoulder. It just feels chill and safe. I'm sure that there's definitely some crime here.
Yeah, there's definitely probably like break-ins or people, stealing out of a car, small time crime like that. But overall, it's not a place where you walk around feeling unsafe.
Or I'm not like in my car locking my door when I first get in there or anything like that. Like I never have that feeling. It's felt very chill, very safe. And that's one thing that a lot of people have said about Uruguay. Well, it's expensive because it's so safe. So it's like kind of that balance.
And compared to other, big cities in South America or other areas where there's a lot more crime to be aware of all the time, I don't have that like anxiety about looking everywhere wherever I go here.
No, so it is nice. Okay, should we move on to pros and cons real quick?
Yes.
Okay, pros.
I think, can I just go off? Are you asking me my personal opinion about this one?
Yeah, I made some notes so I can kind of remember some stuff. But you don't have to.
I would say that the pro for me is that the combination of the coast, like the ocean right here, with the natural beauty of the farmland, they call it Las Pampas. The combination of the two, you can have this gaucho lifestyle, this cowboy lifestyle.
He wants to be a gaucho.
And live this surfer, beachy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it's this really great combination of the two here.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I love I mentioned this earlier. I love going to visit the organic farm stand and then having the coast right here. Our days when I surf and do that, oh, it's perfect. I think one of the things that really stands out for me about this location is the education center, the Boundless Life hub, the overall staff. I'm talking teachers, I'm talking the experienced staff, the community staff, the GM, everything. This has to be one of the best, if not the best locations where all of it is like quite amazing.
Yeah,
don't you think?
It's a really complete offering for sure.
I mean, but not just a complete offering, it's like, well done, cohort number 1. Like, I mean, the school is incredible. The hub is the best one yet. And the staff just seems to get it as far as experiences and ECAs and all that stuff. So I think that whole package has been top notch here. Of course, this is the hard thing about these reviews is that, you know, teachers could change, staff could change, things can change, but overall, they seem to understand like the boundless lifestyle here, what people are looking for. Walkability, I think, is a pro. It's much better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
The main street that we had seen on Google Maps is not really a main street. I mean, there's a lot of cars going back and forth, and I'm sure high season it can be really packed, but it's easy enough to cross even without a sidewalk.
And there are sidewalks.
There are
everywhere,
sidewalks
though.
also.
There's sidewalks everywhere.
Sorry, there's without a. You can
Crosswalk.
even cross without a crosswalk. Yeah, sorry. There are sidewalks everywhere.
But it's also nice that they have speed humps, speed bumps
Yes.
throughout the center of that main strip, so that cars aren't flying through here. They have to slow down for these speed bumps.
Right. And I mean, you can even walk back through the neighborhoods, which don't have sidewalks, but are just like really chill, kind of meander. It's easy to walk. Oh, it's still South America. It's not like this. It's not like Spain where it's like that promenade of perfect sidewalk, you know. This is going to be like a little bumps, like move the stroller that way and get it over, but it's completely stroller friendly.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, as you know, travelers.
So another big benefit here is that you have the opportunity to surf, and not only to surf, but they offer ECAs for surfing, so the extracurricular activities, the after-school activities for the kids to learn how to surf, as well as they offer it for the parents to learn to surf. So it's really cool. I've never really got into surfing, but it's really close to everything, and it's really easy to just go over and jump in the water. They have wetsuits for you. You don't need to bring your own wetsuit. And the surf class has been wonderful.
It's been so fun. Honestly, my surf days, I say, are my best days as far as just like getting in the water, then you feel so refreshed getting out, and I'm so productive all day. I'm kind of like on a high from the adrenaline rush / being whipped around in the ocean. But I think it's so much fun. Neither of us are like surfers, right? But it was just too easy. I mean, we've gone surfing, you know, wherever we go out for a lesson once a year or something. But this we've been doing every week, and it's been super fun.
And talking about the kids surfing, so I know that you can be nervous having your kids in the water. They actually do the surf class in the river where the waves are coming in, so they have it in really shallow waters. Sometimes days are more blustery than others, but generally the spot where they learn how to surf for the kids is a great fit for teaching kids in water, so it's a lot closer to shore.
Yeah, and I was a little bit nervous about that, but I have like zero nervousness, honestly. Even on like the blustery day, it's very shallow far out here. Even where we're surfing, it's quite shallow far out, so it makes it a little bit nicer. As far as if you are really into surfing and you're like, I'm going to Uruguay so I can be surfing every day, you might want to bring a wetsuit just because it is expensive here, but you can also get them here. There's been plenty of parents that have bought a board and know they can sell it back for a good price because everything sells really good here. Even secondhand stores here were like more expensive than going to buy something new. It was wild. But anyway, so you can get all of that here as well if you're big into surfing and want to go out surfing on your own all the time.
How about talking about some of the cons here?
Okay, I will go first with this. It is expensive. It feels expensive. It feels expensive for South America. So you just know that going into it. You're going to be paying more like US, European, even higher than some European pricing. Like I would say like more like in line with
California,
but that's not Europe.
No, but I mean, I think in general, a lot of things are cheaper in Europe. So
I would say that's what I was going to say. Like Spain, Portugal, this is going to be priced higher, honestly. When we came from Spain and we were in a little bit of sticker shock because we're like, what happened to our cheap, coffee and pastry? All of a sudden, it's like $6 coffee or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think if you go into it with the mindset that you're going to be paying California prices for everything, you'll be fine.
You will, and you know what I have decided? At first I was just like, oh my gosh, it's just more expensive than anyone. But then you find your places that are worth paying the price. So for example, like the organic farm or some of the really good restaurants, like I'm okay paying for that price because now I know I'm getting like really quality food, and I'm using every little bit of it. I'm like, do not let that go to waste.
No crumbs, no crumbs.
The peels I'm making into vegetable broth. Actually, I'm doing it as we speak. The sauerkraut juice, I'm like, we can use that. So it's actually, in some sense, because in Spain we were like, oh, it's okay, we'll get this, we'll get that. It was all pretty inexpensive. And here we're like, I think there's something to be said about that, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So let's talk about time zone. So it's a little bit hard to picture, but if you look at a map, we're actually ahead of US East Coast time zone. So we're 1 hour ahead of New York. So if you're trying to work North American hours for work, it's a pretty great spot to do it from, because it gives you that flexibility of your day where you're basically within the zone of the North American workday.
But on the flip side, I put this as the pro-con.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I prefer working European time so that I can enjoy the whole day and then work in the afternoon. So here, it's more like you're working North American time zone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the con of it, is that in Europe, you get to kind of play in the morning, and then you're working kind of when the kids are about to get out of school, which is a little unfortunate, and then you're working all night, right? But here, you're just working all day, and you never really get to play.
Yeah. So that's a trade-off. But if you're looking for that, which a lot of people are.
Yeah, most people are wanting that exact time zone.
Yeah, so it's a good fit for that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that could be a pro or a con. But let's move on to Education Center, the school.
Yeah, so this is the most unique education center space, I'd say. It was some person's eclectic home where they had collected all these things all across the world, really, and included it into this building. Prior to it being a Boundless property, it was a different school was there. So it was already outfitted for school classrooms in a way. But it's a really great, open, big space.
Yeah, I mean, the windows are huge, tons of natural light. It just has a vibe to it that is kind of how you would picture Boundless Life education centers or ECs or the schools. The one thing I will say is, just like all of them, they're a little small for as they start to grow. I don't know how they're going to manage it or what kind of extra spaces, but for our cohort, it's a small cohort. It's fantastic. They have green space. They have like a nice, it's not a ton of green space, it's not a big field, but it's just like, it's just cool. It's my favorite. I think it might be, Bali's really cool too, but I would say this is probably my favorite Boundless Life Education Center.
Yeah, and the location's tucked away into a neighborhood, away from the downtown area, away from the village. So it has a nice residential, slow area. You don't have to worry about cars flying by there or anything like that. It's got really nice protected fencing space. So that's always a concern for me when I'm leaving the kids. Like, I don't want any cars zipping by, etc. So it's tucked in a nice, quiet residential area, which is nice.
It is. They have a little climbing wall there. They have an old train that they're converting into maybe
a real train car.
A real old train car.
Yeah.
That they are converting into more of I think eventually a classroom or maybe a library or something, that space will be used as. They just have some green space for some little gardens and some Montessori types of toys or what, like structures that the kids can play in. I just think it's a charming space for sure.
Yeah. And it's a good combination of indoor classroom space plus this courtyard where there's an old olive tree and other outdoor space. So it's a good combination of space that's all theirs.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you said, it's not like a squared off building. It doesn't have that like municipal kind of feel, where I think some of the Boundless Spain, I would say, education center, I don't necessarily love the education center. The location is fantastic, right on the beach and the promenade. The location is fantastic. The education center is just okay. This one is like, the education center is just...
It stands on its own.
It does. It's really cool. And it's probably going to be about a 15 to 20 minute walk from like the cluster of cafes down by the beach, right? It could be that you're staying closer to the education center, so maybe you only have a 5 or 10 minute walk. Just kind of depends on where you're staying around Barra.
Yeah. And where you want to stay. I mean, do you want to be right near the school so your commutes to school are really easy every day? Or do you want to be down by the beach and have a coastal experience, or up near the forest? So you can pick and choose the area that best fits what you're looking for.
Yeah, they all have some charm to it, to be honest. Okay, let's move on real quick to the ECAs, or the after-school activities, extracurricular activities.
Yeah, so we already mentioned surfing, which I think is going to be a highlight for every cohort. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the big highlight here.
I think every single kid, except for the littles, the under 3s, 3 and unders, are in surfing. this cohort.
Yeah.
It's a popular one, and they're all the kids you go to into surfing, and they take the kids from school, they transfer them by a big bus or a big van down to surfing, and the parents can either meet them there or. But I every day they're all so excited. They're singing, they're dancing. So surfing has been really good. What are some of the
They
others?
also have a cooking class, and I don't know if they'll continue to have this same chef, but has been wonderful.
You know, we have not always done a lot of the ECAs. We've been kind of hit or miss in the early days of Boundless. I would say they've continued to get better and better, and I hear better and better things. Every single one of the ECAs here has been a home run.
And in case you're not familiar with them, the ECAs are the extracurricular activities, and you do pay an additional fee if you want to sign up your kids for these after-school
And
activities.
they're usually like every Tuesday from 3:30 to 4:30, and then you have to pick up your kid at 4:30. Or for surfing, you pick up the kid at the beach at 4:30, 5 o'clock or something. I think it's 5 o'clock for that one. So the cooking has been honestly phenomenal. The chef is, I think she's like a Michelin star pastry chef / she has all this other experience, and she's really particular about ingredients and nourishing the body, and does fermenting with the kids. They did sushi, they've done empanadas, they've done some local things, some like really like understanding health and gut biome, and she's my kind of person.
And we can't promise that that same teacher will be there,
Right.
but I think in general, the level of the classes that they're delivering has been amazing. And for the little kids, they have an arts and crafts program, and so they are so engaging with those kids.
I am really, really impressed. Look, if I'm spending extra money on an ECA, I want to be impressed. I want to make it something that I'm not just like, I don't need my kids just to go to school for an extra hour. I want them to like be learning something new, to be engaged with somebody local that's going to teach them something that they otherwise cannot get somewhere else, or have an experience that is really unique. And these ECAs have delivered on all those levels, all of them. I would come back here for the school, for the teachers, for the ECAs, for these experiences over and over again. The art class for the littles, I don't really need my 2-year-old to go to school an extra hour, but it's so engaging. They're outside, they're splashing paint. The teachers are just this phenomenal. I just can't even explain it. I'm like, my heart is so happy every time I see this class. So ECAs are a home run.
Yeah, I would say in general, we've just had them be the best ECAs out of any location.
Yeah.
As overall.
For sure. I mean, we've had some good ECAs, like the sailing in Syros was phenomenal. We've had some good ones, but like just overall, every single one being a home run and that unique for all those reasons I stated. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about housing, apartments.
Yeah, and so this is really something that's just starting out. We're the first cohort, so we don't know what it's going to look like next cohort, the one after that, a year from now. But I will say that their housing is really going to vary depending on what season you're here, because in their high season, which is generally December, January, February, when it's summertime here, the pricing of rentals are so high. It's their highest season. Some people, the locals, they will rent out their own homes during those seasons because they can make so much money during that season. So you're going to really see a shift between the seasons in which rentals are available.
So I think with the housing, they're continuing to figure out like which houses are available for which particular seasons and what that pricing might look like. So you can contact your family rep and figure out more about that. I'd say there's a couple different areas. They're all really close. So you're talking about like a 10-minute walk to something, right? And a pretty easy, chill walk. But you could get it out, like we said, like kind of in the more neighborhoods, a little bit more forest feel.
Some cool properties. Some of them have pools. Some of them have a little bit of grassy yard, a little bit of land.
Right. Or what we decided on is the condo complex that has a pool and is incredible.
And there are a few
Ocean
complexes near the beach, so there's a few to choose from if you can find rentals down here. Again, we don't know what Boundless is if they're gonna take on these properties as part of their portfolio, or if they're gonna have you rent your own property through Airbnb or what have you. So you just have to figure out though, what type of experience do you want? Do you want to have a coastal beachy experience? Or do you want to have a forest experience?
And you want to have your own, do you want to be surrounded with like other Boundless families, or possibly other families, like local families, in a kind of complex, which has its pros and cons? Or do you want to have your standalone house? Is parking included in some of especially during some seasons? I'd imagine if you're near the beach, the roads are kind of full, so if you don't have a parking spot, which I think most places would, I'm guessing, I think it would be fine. The other thing that some people have experienced here is that some of the furniture, the bedding, can be very hard. That has been probably the biggest complaint. Ours is phenomenal. We love it. It's great. I sleep very, very well at night. But these are like some things you might want to think of. Also, is the pool heated, things like that. Is there AC and heat depending on the season? But overall, the places around, there seems to be some good options around here. It's just about finding which ones could be in your budget for that season.
Yeah, and talking about seasons, I think out of the three months cohorts, so January, February, March, April, May, June, or September, October, November, I think all three of those would be amazing to be here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would say I would come back here for any of those seasons, knowing that the weather changes in the shoulder seasons, but still you get to enjoy a little bit of the warm and a little bit of the cold.
I mean, we always typically prefer the shoulder season. I think January, February, March, the high season, will have its own vibe. It'll be a lot more crowded, obviously, but with that might be more things to do, more
and
activities.
Everything will be open.
And
so all the during the shoulder season, some of the places close. Maybe an ice cream store closes, a boutique shop closes.
Yeah, and I think during the high season too, you have like other things like the harvesting takes place in March, right? The stomping of the grapes and things like that. So there's like activities that are good and bad for each season, right? The pros and cons for everything.
And there are also seasons when the whales come down and you can see the whales right from the shore.
Right, so that could be very fun too. Okay, and then let's move on to the hub. This is the co-working space. This particular one is huge, really nice. It's a family lounge plus co-working space, separate co-working space upstairs. So
yeah, and I've been working there a lot. I don't always work from the hub, from the co-working space, but this one is really nice. They have dedicated areas, lots of separated rooms, so you can have privacy for, I'm on calls all day, and so be able to close the door and have a private space. They also now have those pods where you can go in and have a soundproof pod. They have about 5 of those. So a lot of different areas to work in. I mix it up and work from different spots each day just to get a little different view. And so as far as a co-working space go, it feels like a nice office that you're walking into upstairs, but also combined with the downstairs family lounge where they have space to do yoga inside during the inside season. They have an area dedicated for the kids area with the kids' toys.
That is really cool. Like they have a kids' room where I could go after school and the kids can do some coloring, arts and crafts, some games, it's just nice to have that little space extra than just your house, right? With extra toys and things like that. They have a pool and it's heated. That's not easy to find, actually, like anywhere in the world except the US. So that's been really nice too. We've had asados there, like on Sundays.
Asado is like a barbecue. So they have a grill there so you can grill things there.
Right.
And in this culture, the gaucho culture, which I am really a part of now. I'm an official gaucho. Somebody told me that I'm official. Now you can have an asado, which is like a grill, on a parrilla, on the grill, and have a whole day of just cooking and eating all the best meats from Las Pampas.
Yeah, it's fun. This one is really nice, and I think you have said over and over that this co-working hub, you actually are utilizing. They have screens, which makes it really nice, like extra screens to use, monitors. So it just seems like there's space for everybody there.
Yeah.
It's nice, and a big kitchen.
And we have guys' nights there. We'll go and play cards or go and grill something and have to play cards there. So it's a really nice space, good kitchen space.
Yeah, I think overall though, you will find that the hub is about a 10-minute walk from the education center, maybe.
Yeah.
And then from where we are, it's maybe a 5-minute walk to the hub or something. So everything's quite close and kind of easy just to like pop in and out of, I think, a lot, which is nice. Let's move on to just some activities, some Boundless activities, as well as some local activities really quick. So we have weekly yoga. There are bi-weekly walks around town. These are things that Boundless holds at no additional cost, right? So they have some of those types of activities, some Boundless connection times or Boundless community where somebody can come in and talk about certain subjects, or they talk about the destination and such like that. And then here as well, some other things we've been doing outside of Boundless, playing paddle. There are paddle courts, just a 5-minute walk.
Paddle is a game sort of like tennis or pickleball, but very popular worldwide.
Yeah, so it's become really popular within Boundless cohorts. So there are paddle courts, maybe a 10-minute walk from here, which makes it really easy. And let's see, Pilates Reformer is maybe a 7-minute drive. There is Pilates Reformer in town, but we found one that could take it like us as a private, the mamas, as a private class. So we do Pilates Reformer twice a week, which has been really nice. There are not many gyms around here.
No.
I don't think there are. But if you go to Punta, maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, there are some really nice gyms that you can join. I just haven't found the need to with doing paddle and Pilates reformer and yoga and walking on the beach and surfing. I'm like, I don't really need a gym.
And some of the apartment complexes will have a gym, so you can find a little gym that way if you're looking for one.
There's also, like we said, there's boundless activities for parents, such as, there's some art classes, there's some surfing. We said we do by our weekly surfing. There's Spanish lessons.
And these are all at an additional cost if you want to do one of these activities that Boundless hosts.
Right. Another place where Boundless, the team here, the experiences, it just feels like they are unique. They're what Boundless should be, right? They are these things that I cannot just go book on my own. I might not be able to find the person, the uniqueness of the sommelier or the chef or whatever it might be, or the little cheese farmer that came in. It's these types of things that I think when Boundless has these types of experiences, it's a wow factor.
Yeah, and it also really matches the culture here. It's not like they're just doing some generic thing you could get anywhere. They're giving you an experience that is relevant to this Uruguayan culture.
Right, so we have had a wine and cheese tasting. They brought in some local sommeliers. They brought in the local cheese farmer that made his own cheese. It was just one experience out there that has been pretty unique, like we said, unique and kind of right on. So kudos to the team there. I would say other things, like people ask us about soccer, football. There's nothing really right here. Have you seen much?
No, I do think there are programs in Punta you could probably find for the kids to join. So there certainly are soccer programs here.
And again, that's just a 15-minute drive away, so not far. There is a really cool place here called Porto Bosque, which is, you just have to look it up. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, and they offer after-school activities for the kids as well as Saturday programs. Now, whether you can become a member to join for when you're coming, they may still continue to develop that offering. But basically, this place has a membership and you join as a year-round member, and then you can bring the kids for classes like computer programming, robotics, music, drama.
Lots of nature, outdoor.
Building, construction,
carpentry.
sewing, digital animation, stop motion.
But right now, it is a year-round membership. And so that's a downside. I don't think Boundless has figured out a way to work with them that they are offering something on a shorter-term basis at this moment. However, they are open on Saturdays, and so you can, for a pretty good price, a good price meaning a pretty expensive price.
Like about $50 for a day pass to include your kids in the activities.
I'm telling you, this place is worth it. It's really, really cool. And you can also just go eat there and go to the restaurant, I think, without any pass. So look into that. But the place is amazing.
They have a really nice property with a zip line, with a lot of outdoor activities, fire, circle, and all types of different outdoor activities, as well as those classes they offer.
Right. Okay, let's move on to food real quick. So we've talked about there's lots of cute cafes. There's lots of gluten-free, healthy options. A lot of meat here, but also a lot of vegetarian stuff.
Yeah, and La Barra itself does have 3 grocery stores. So 3 grocery stores right in walking distance. You can sort of get whatever you need at them. Not great prices, not the best grocery stores. If you want to go to Punta to stock up on certain things, you can do that as well. Yeah,
overall, any other grocery stores here, I haven't found one that I'm like, this is it. But I'm finding, again, you just have to kind of, I have to just kind of chill out for a moment and be like, okay, I'm going to find my stuff. So I get this from there and this from there and that from there, and it all works out, and I'm happy. So you'll find that we found one really great farm, I'll list it here, that now Boundless has a 10% discount with, which I'm very excited about.
And they do deliver also.
They do deliver, but I love visiting the farm. It's really cute storefront. So.
And there's an amazing general store right nearby the farm.
Yeah, we can post that here too. For everything, there's not like a ton. You're not going to be like, okay, I want, milk. Here's all my options. It's just, there's not a ton of options, but once you find your thing, it's okay. Don't you think that way?
I don't know. I was at the store last night and they had 12 different types of plant-based milk.
Yeah, but do they only have a couple ingredients?
Yeah.
Some of them. Okay. You found one for me. Thank you. Okay. There's also some really cool restaurants that, again, some of these I'm just like, how did we not go there until recently? Jake found one for Mother's Day, Aqua Verde, which was incredible. A set price, 5-course meal. So good. Narbonne is
Yeah,
like
and
a
these
cool
are-
farm
these are-
winery set, like vineyard setting.
Yeah, so it's on a winery, so it's a vineyard, and they have so much beautiful land. You look out at the cows and the horses, and gorgeous
It's
setting.
just so nice. I mean, if you drive this way toward Jose Ignacio, which Jose Ignacio is great too. There's a place called Panaderia, which the bread, the everything, love it there. I mean, I just drive that way and I'm just so happy. It's like
Yeah.
coast and farmland and just cool. So
The drive to Jose Ignacio is about 25 minutes away, and the drive down that coast is just this untouched coastline. It's very beautiful.
it really is untouched. Whereas like, again, I'm just going to compare to Spain because we were just there, and you see so many condo complexes and so many things built up. You're like, where do all these people go? Like they just condo and condo and condo complex. Here it's just like very untouched. It feels
Yeah.
very open and just a little more free. Okay, let's go into real quick just side trips.
Yeah, so in some ways, this is a gateway to South America. So you can begin to explore South America if you haven't before from here. The downside of that is it's a little bit expensive just to get from here to Buenos Aires and then to fly out to these other adventures. So to get to Buenos Aires is fairly easy. You can take a ferry or you can take a flight. But when you tack on that leg of the flight plus what it takes to get to the next stop, the flights can be a little pricier.
Yeah, because most of the flights to Buenos Aires out of Montevideo are the better ones. There's a couple days a week they have out of Punta del Este, but it's still just like the whole trek to get to Buenos Aires, and then you have a lot more options, right? So, but we have found some that were like, we didn't feel like the travel day was too much. We felt like it was very easy. We did Iguazu Falls.
Iguazu Falls is one of the most magical waterfalls on earth.
And we had passed it up a few times, and then we finally decided to go very last minute, and it was not overrated. Let's just put it that way. It was not
Stunning.
overrated. Absolutely incredible. We had an amazing trip. We just did Mendoza last week.
Mendoza is in the middle of the Andes Mountains in the western part of Argentina, and it's the home of the Malbec wine.
So the wineries, the vineyards, we had a lot of fun there for the week.
And because I'm a gaucho, I went horseback riding, and we had asados. In my culture, that's what we do.
We also did Buenos Aires for a couple of days, but we've done it before, so we didn't spend too much time there. We've had friends do Rio or Bariloche in Patagonia. Depending on the season too, you can even go further south. You could do like Ushuaia, the point, the end of the world.
The southern tip near Cape Horn.
Which most people go to Antarctica from. You know, there's the Falkland Islands. I don't know how hard they are to get to from here. We've done those before
Fly
too.
away.
So there's Salto in Uruguay, right? Salta in Argentina, Salta. You can do some of the salt flats. I really wanted to do Bolivian salt flats too, but it was just too hard to get to. Some of it looks close, and you're like, man, that's just like a 13-hour flight route, and it's just not worth it.
But I do think if there are places you want to go in South America, I would say plan ahead before you get here so you know how you're going to get there and you have your expectations met.
Your expectations is the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
But we did almost every one of our trips was basically planned the day before. So they were incredible. So you can take some amazing trips. Within Uruguay too, there's a lot of estancias. We're really
Which are kind of ranches or estates you can go and stay on.
and then have some horseback riding. There's the Carmelo area, which we were thinking about staying at one point too, is more of the wine region, foodie region, I would say.
Yeah, which is about a 5-hour drive from here. So I think you can have some nice drives to weekend
Colonia,
getaways.
people love for a day trip kind of thing. Okay, then there's the place that you can go see the sea lions and everything too. So there are a lot of like different
Lots
day
to
trips and stuff,
explore.
and weekend trips. that you
We
can do.
also did an olive oil tour. Michelle planned this for me because everywhere we go, I want to go see the olive farm. And so we went and harvested olives, and I got to see how they make the olive oil, taste it right out of the machine.
Yeah, I did it through
First cold press
a company,
that
small.
does wine tours.
They're called Wine Explorers, and they have these other events sometimes, I think, throughout the year. And so we went on one, the one that with all the olive harvesting, so the more kid friendly, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's wrap that up. Again, if we missed anything, if you have any questions, please let us know. Message me on Instagram at Michelle Champ. I'll drop that here, and we will happily answer or give at least our perspective, right? It's just one perspective. We say this over and over again, and you have to really take into consideration, what are you yearning for? We had just come from Europe, so I was yearning for more of this openness and just this, South American kind of vibe. So it's, what do you really want? What meets your family's needs, and once and all that kind of stuff.
Thing we didn't cover yet was just language.
I was about to say this, yeah.
You know, so they do speak Spanish here. They speak a very specific type of Spanish here called Rio Platense, and you can get by speaking English. It's not a problem. Some people only speak Spanish. That is true, but generally you'll find people can communicate with some English.
Right. And that brought me to another point, which is actually pretty important, and we should have put this in the pros and cons, is the accessibility to cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is more of a cash culture than I thought it was going to be. More so in the sense that at the restaurants and stuff, you can use your card quite easily. When you go to like farm deliveries and you go to like, I'm paying for Pilates, and you go to pay for some of these, like even the Wine Explorers event, it's either this bank transfer, which is basically impossible for us because we don't have a bank account here, or you get hit with these hefty fees. Wise, the fees were super hefty. PayPal, if I can pay in US dollars, which I have learned, and you should ask them, will they accept US dollars? It's a lot less of a fee to transfer money. And a lot of people have struggled getting money out with the ATMs. They haven't been working right. I think people eventually found some that actually really work. So you'll know, I'm sure Boundless will give you, where those are, but just kind of keep that in mind. Maybe bring some extra cash, maybe make sure you have access to some stuff like that.
And a lot of the places will take American dollars.
That's what, yeah.
Specifically, they prefer $100 bills, I've noticed.
Oh,
Like
really?
you can use a $100 bill at the grocery store.
Oh, that's how I've been paying for my farm goods, and then I get back and change Uruguayan pesos. And so that's actually been a helpful way to get some Uruguayan pesos. But just kind of keep that in mind. That was way more of a struggle than we assumed it was going to be.
We actually have not been able to get cash out with ATM with our ATM cards.
Yeah, we haven't.
So I would say come with some extra cash just to have it available. And then there are places you can exchange American dollars.
That has been
pesos.
easy. That has been easy, especially in Punta, just to go in and exchange.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we mentioned that because I almost forgot about that. Okay, really quickly, who would we recommend the Barra Boundless to?
This is not an underdeveloped place. So compared to other parts of South America, like being in Peru, being in Ecuador, this feels like a more modernized society.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not like overly commercialized.
No.
It's not like Burger King, McDonald's, this, that. Like it's very much has its culture and has this like surf, chill, safer vibe to it overall. I have a hard time thinking anybody would hate it here. I don't think it's going to be everybody's dream location, but I really have a hard time thinking somebody could come in and be like, I'd absolutely hate it. But I think if you love the city, if you love lots to do and walk to and like the city vibe, this might not be your place.
This is not an urban vibe.
No.
And it's not a old world European vibe.
No. I think you just have to kind of know, based on what we've been sharing, if this is your kind of place or not. For me, I absolutely love it. I love the education center. I love the hub. I love looking out at the ocean. It's chill, but there's enough to do. So I absolutely adore it here. But I think you have to just kind of ask yourself if that's your kind of place or not.
Yeah, and I would say, compared to other places in South America, this is not as underdeveloped as other places in South America are. So it is more modernized. You do have a nice upscale way of living here, I'd say. And if you're looking to explore South America, I think this is a pretty easy way to do it.
Oh, for sure. This is absolutely an easy place to start with South America. I mean, I love South America. I love all the different countries in South America. But this is an easy Boundless Life location. Again, we're not looking over our shoulder for anything. I can easily go as a woman on the beach by myself or walk around town by myself and not feel, like nervous or anything like that. So we always hate to say anything is safe. But as far as South America goes, there's locations it feels to us secure. It feels secure. That's good. Okay, so
how would you compare this to other Boundless Life locations? What if we generalize and say, compared to the European locations, what do you think this does better or worse?
Yeah, I mean, I think we compared it a lot to Spain just because we have just been there. But I think I just think it's so different than the European locations. I think it kind of stands on its own a bit. And so it's hard to compare Europe to here, but
I would say this is a real full offering. Like it really feels like we're having this very special experience here. I wouldn't say it feels like we're getting a good value. If you're looking for a good value,
True.
I would say go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a really complete, different experience, a taste of South America, a bit of the culture of the asado with grilling the meats, and a little bit of the campo culture of the countryside. This is a great place to be.
Yeah, it just feels different than Europe to me. I mean, not better or worse. Again, it's just different to me. My heart, like, I think about Syros, I'm like, how's this different? It just, you're not on an island. You don't have that like magical island feel. You have this like chill surf vibe feel, you know? How does it feel compared to Montenegro? Montenegro has that like charming old town, and then you have the sea and this like majestic landscape. You don't have majestic landscape here, but you have this, you know, open land, and there's
beautiful
a
coastline.
Yeah. So I think it just like differs. And then of course Bali is a place to go for inexpensive. You feel like you're always getting a value.
You don't have as many of the challenges that you have in Bali. I think Bali gives you that really good value feel, but you don't have necessarily the motorbikes whizzing by you, and you do have some mosquitoes, but not all the mosquitoes that Bali has, and some of those illnesses you can get in Bali.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to all the places, right? I just think this is just kind of its own unique little gem. The funny thing about La Barra is that when we go to Argentina, everybody knows about La Barra. I mean, we're out in the middle of the Andes Mountains, and we're like, he's like, what part of Uruguay? We're like, La Barra. He's like, oh, La Barra, it's amazing. The Argentinians love La Barra. They all know it. Like, I've never heard of this place before in my life. And everybody knows La Barra from Argentina. So it is definitely has like, people know of this. People know it's nice. It has this surf vibe. It has this like cool town. It's a very like, oh, I used to summer there. I go there every summer type of thing, right?
Yeah. And I would say, you know, if you're trying to figure out which one you should go to, you really need to look at the seasons also. Like, take a look. Remember, it's the opposite season as the Northern Hemisphere. Remember that it's going to be a little different in each season you go to. If you go in the January, February, March time frame, it's going to be hopping, and people are going to be at the restaurants. It's going to be a really cool vibe, but it's going to be a little bit more crowded, more touristy at the same time.
Right.
So what are you in the mood for?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll leave you with that. Hopefully you found this video helpful, give you some insight into La Barra. Where would it rank for you on locations?
Oh, you know, it just keeps getting higher and higher, honestly. I feel like it's really close to the top for me.
Me too. I really love it. But again, everyone has, like, Spain is easy, Montenegro is so different, you get out of Shenzhen, Bali is such a good value, Syros is magical, Portugal has its own like charm in the Portuguese way, and is also good value. And so everyone has this like.
And Tuscany is a big gateway to Italy.
I mean, like, yeah.
Anywhere in Italy.
I know. So they all have their own charm, but I don't know. La Barra right now is hitting the spot for me, so we're enjoying it here. So if you have any other questions, let us know.
Yeah, please do. We're happy to fill you in on what we think might work best for you. Give us a little taste of what you're looking for. We'll tell you which one we think is best for you. And when I say we, I mean Michelle's going to do it. I'm not really going to do it.
Probably, but I can always bring Jake in if you have any other questions. Okay, we'll leave our referral code below. If it's your first Boundless Life stay and you found this video helpful, you can use that. And if you have any other questions, let us know.
Thanks.